All right, we'll go ahead and get this meeting started, and I'm just going to ask everybody to stand, and we're going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance. It's going to be led by Commissioner Stokes.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's go ahead with roll call.
Commissioner Yeager,
Here.
Commissioner Dixon,
Here.
Commissioner McGann, here. Commissioner Engelke,
Here.
Commissioner Stapleton,
Here.
Commissioner Little, here. Commissioner Stokes,
Here.
Commissioner Vidal.
Well, I hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving. So we're going to start off with the approval of the previous minutes. I hope everybody's had a chance to read over those. And we're looking for a motion.
Okay, I'd like to move that we accept all minutes from the last meeting.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Now we have a motion and a second. All those in favor, let's do roll call.
Commissioner Vidal, absent. Commissioner Stokes,
Okay.
Commissioner Little,
Yes.
Commissioner Stapleton,
Aye.
Commissioner well, you don't vote, do you, Engelke? Commissioner McGann, yes. Commissioner Dixon,
Yes.
Commissioner Yeager.
Yes.
All right. Minutes have been approved. We're going to move on to item 3, and I'm just going to turn this over to our newly appointed planning director, Mr. Chad, for your introduction and whatever you'd like to say at this time.
All right, excuse me. Thank you, Chairman Engelke. Before I say anything about myself, since I don't know who you are exactly or whatever, and I'm doing the minutes here or whatever, unless Bob is doing that remotely as well. I don't know. Him and I have not discussed that. But I didn't catch who made the motion and the second on that, on the approval of the
The
minutes.
motion was made by Commissioner Little,
Okay,
and the second was made by Commissioner Dixon.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. So until I get to know you, I may ask specifically for call-outs on that or whatever. Sometimes when I've been in meetings, they'll have the little name plate up there, but even then, I don't know if I'd be able to see it very well down here.
And I will also give you the roll call
Oh, excellent,
at
excellent.
the end.
Like that. So yes, thank you for that. So my name is Chad Barr, and I'm the planning director for Horn Lake. And I'm on my 3rd day here. I started last week, a couple days. And I was working in Kansas for a municipality there. But I moved from Iowa. My wife was still in Iowa. We were trying to locate to Kansas, and we decided against that particular position. And so we moved here from Iowa about 10 days ago or so. Very happy to be here. It seems like a very good fit for my skills. So we're excited about learning about the South and Mississippi and the area and learning to know people and customs and that sort of thing. And hopefully I can do a good job for you for years to come. That's the hope.
Well, thank you, Director Barr. All right, so now we're going to move on to, there's no old business, and we'll move on to new business. There's no new rezonings, and we're moving on to letter B, subdivisions, with case number 2055 SD. I'll turn this over to Mr. Bob for a moment, unless Mr. Chad, you're going to be the one discussing this, whichever y'all are going to.
No, well, for this particular meeting, I'm going to let Bob, if he's okay with presenting. I've got notes and I've got questions here, or whatever, if they come up. I've tried to review the packet last week prior to the meeting. But I'll let Bob handle that since he's more familiar with the cases that are on the agenda at this point.
Right, thank you.
And Mr. Chairman, I'll review each of the items. You do have two subdivisions. The first subdivision application is case number 2055. It's a one-lot final subdivision in the fountain of Fairfield at 4065 Goodman Road. You should see, you'll have in your packet, you will flip down. It's about 20 pages in. I apologize, I didn't get the planning packet page numbers on your, go back one. There, John. There, that, you can stay right there. I didn't get your planning packet page numbers in red on there, so we may have just a little bit of difficulty navigating it. But on the screen, you will see outlined in red the proposed final lot of Fairfield, Fountains of Fairfield. And if you'll scroll one more, John, you'll see the subdivision plat as is proposed. Excuse me. By the way, I have COVID. You probably heard that in the early discussion. There's a reason I'm not with you. I may cough a little bit during my presentation. This is directly west of Aldi. You'll see this lot here. The proposed use of the site is a Wendy's restaurant. And they need to final out this lot. It has preliminary approval. This was in a planned unit development, Fountains at Fairfield Meadows, I believe, or Fairfield Meadows overall. It's a relatively simple proposed subdivision that we have here. If you'll scroll up, John, to the comments in the staff report, 2 or 3 pages up. One more page up. Yeah, so this was just standard conditions. There wasn't really anything out of the ordinary or noteworthy in this particular proposed subdivision. We did state that the final, before it's approved, the engineer will need to provide comments for the infrastructure. The road construction will need to be, some of those roads have already been constructed and some of them have not. We'll need to get the final status of that and bond whatever is outstanding on it. But otherwise, it's a very simple one-lot subdivision to accommodate a Wendy's, and it's just to the west of the Aldi grocery store. And I'm sure there's an applicant in the room that may want to speak to it and provide additional detail.
All right, thank you, Bob. Does any commission have any questions for Bob right now? Okay, do we have the applicant here? All right, if y'all would like to come up to the podium, just state your name and your address, please.
Hi there, I'm Dylan Dempsey with the civil engineering firm, Carlson Consulting Engineers. I'm here as a representative for them.
Okay. Does any of the commissioners have any questions for the applicant?
I do.
Go ahead and move your microphone, please.
Sorry. I know we're only talking about one lot so far, but there's some vacant land going on west, and on the far western side, you have only about a 14, maybe a 16-inch water drain on about a 30-acre watershed. And that little gully is overgrown somewhat, and then behind the houses, on the far western side,
Okay.
there's a ditch that it's severely overgrown, which all that's gonna back up water. Now, as you develop the rest of these lots, you're gonna put in a lot of concrete and asphalt. The water has no place to go but down to this drain.
Yeah, so I think currently what they do is they already have the road built in there, and they already have a storm system.
I cannot hear you.
Sorry, they have a storm water detention system already developed for this PD. And so in the current roadways, they have size 36, I believe, and up of storm sewers already placed in on the new road that was already built in that area.
Okay, so you've got plans to enlarge that water drain. Is that correct? Is that what I'm hearing?
The current PD has storm sewers already in there that are controlling so that they're detaining so that it's the amount of water that goes off the site is still equal to the amount of water if there was no site built there today.
Okay, well, as this thing progresses on, you get more property developed and you put in business, then I won't pay particular attention about that water drain.
Understood.
As it goes under Goodman to an open field that will be developed someday, just west of Captain D's that's across the road. So what I don't want to see is develop all this property and have water start backing up.
Understood.
Because the houses that we see in there is going to pay the price. Okay, please just keep that in mind, do something to that water drain. Thank you.
Yes, sir, and we'll note that, again, before this plat is recorded, before any building permit is issued, the engineer will verify that the capacity of stormwater management is there. My understanding is that the system is built to detain the runoff in the pre-development condition, as the young man just said. So, but we will verify that, and we will note the record of that. Yes, sir.
Okay, thanks.
Any other questions from any of the other commissioners?
Okay, so will this come back before us for the design of the property?
It will. Yes, ma'am. It was, they've applied for a design review. It's not coming tonight because we didn't have a full complement of the building facade and all the various elements that we needed. So it'll come back for you for a design review, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
I know I'm not the planning commission or whatever, and I think there was a sign-in sheet in the back, but I've got an additional one here. I would ask each person if you could put your information, just for the record's sake, that we get your spelling right and which firm you're with and that sort of thing. So I'll pass that around if that's okay.
No, that's fine. All right, do we have a motion?
I move to recommend approval to the Mayor Board of Aldermen the subdivision of the above described property for the following reasons, including recommendation.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Stokes.
Let's make that subject to approval of engineering, public works, and fire comments.
Yes.
Do we have a second?
A second.
All right, a second by Commissioner Little. Let's do roll call.
Commissioner Dixon,
Yay.
Commissioner McGann, yes. Commissioner Stapleton,
Yes.
Commissioner Little,
Yes.
Commissioner Stokes,
Yes.
and Commissioner Vidal is absent, and Commissioner Yeager.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries.
Thank you.
All right, thank y'all. Thank y'all. Our next case is 2057 SD. The application for final subdivision approval for the Baker Estates 83 lots. All right, Mr. Bob, I'll turn it over back to you.
Yes, sir. This is filing out 83 lots that have been in a preliminary state of layout. Go the other way, John. I think you're going up. As a plan unit development, there you go. So back up one. So this is the Baker's Estates plan unit development. It was rezoned sometime back. It was adjusted, I believe, last December or so. A preliminary layout of lots was provided. These are 20,000 square foot lots. As you're looking at the map on the screen there, the in the upper left-hand corner, which would be the southeast corner of DeSoto and 301, all of that is zone C4 as a part of the plan unit development, and then everything to the east of the drainage ditch there is R20, and they have provided a layout of final layout of 83 residential lots. So if you'll go to the next slide, this was the preliminary layout as they proposed it. I believe this was presented last December, if I'm not mistaken. And then if you'll go to the next page, you'll see that is the actual final layout. And so if you move that view or rotated that view to the left, you would see that it exactly matches the preliminary layout. The staff report contains standard conditions of plating and recording. Again, these are elements that are standard. Number one, there's no open space here, and the developer is providing a fee in lieu of open space. My understanding today, it was partially paid, so they pay $350 per lot in lieu of providing the open space. Secondly, the engineer will need to approve the civil construction drawings for all the roadways, drainage, and infrastructure elements of the subdivision. I'll let the applicant speak to the homes and the home sizes, and those are the primary elements of what we're looking at here. They do want to call this, if I have it right, I think they want to call it Baker's Estates. I may have that mistaken. Again, I'll leave that to the applicant, what the actual final name of this is. But it's a standard plating and recording of a preliminary plan that's already been approved. It's subject to final bonding and engineering approvals. It's sort of an extension of the development patterns that exist to the east of the site, and it's presented for your approval tonight. That's really all I have.
No, thank you, Bob. Any questions from the commissioners for Mr. Bob?
Mr. Bob, when it comes to the restrictive covenants, home design, open space proposed and compliance with the erosion permit, would that be done with the city engineer?
We need to get the home sizes documented tonight as the basic element of the restrictive covenants. They'll provide the restrictive covenants when they go to record the plat. And so partially, yes, we'll, but really the home designs the applicant will speak to in just a moment, or the home sizes.
Okay. Is this case number, well, it says 2057 on the agenda sheet, but it say 2056 SD on the actual case file.
That's a good catch. I see that. It is 2057.
Okay.
Case number 2057, so we'll correct a report on that.
All right, any other questions for Mr. Bob? All right, do we have the applicant here?
Mr. Chairman and Board, Ben Smith, 2700 Stonebrook, Nesbit. I'm here to represent the owner and developer, who's John Reeves, who's here with us tonight. This, as he mentioned, this subdivision just looks just like the preliminary plan that you've already approved. These lots are all R20. They actually will average out over a half acre apiece. We agreed when we had this approved that the homes would be 1,800 square foot minimum, heated area, not including any porches or anything else, but 1,800 square feet of heated area. I have Mr. Reeves here. He has 3 builders that are going to be building in that subdivision, and they can talk to you about the houses and anything to do with the houses. I'll talk about the subdivision. But we're pretty far along with construction. We're getting close to having asphalt on the streets. We have the tie-in to 301 highway now, so we'll have access to Highway 301. The sewer has been worked out where we will tie into the Interceptor Sewer District line, which follows that ditch that you see there on the plat. So we have sewer to the site. As it turns out, the Walls Water Association has the water rights, not the city. But we have contracted with Walls Water, and their engineer out of Oxford has designed the water system and also has awarded a contract to a contractor to install the water system and the fire hydrants. So we're well along with construction. We'd like to get the plat recorded as soon as possible. We'll bond anything that's missing, and hopefully very soon be pulling building permits for homes that's, they'll talk to you about price, but they're gonna be in excess of probably $300,000 homes. These are what you've been asking for in the city limits, is larger homes, and this is what Mr. Reeves is producing for the city of Horn Lake. I'll ask you a question you have about the engineering or the plat or anything to do with that part of the presentation.
I got a question or two for you.
Yes, sir.
You said it's gonna be 1,800 heated square foot homes?
Minimum.
Okay. Is this thing gonna be anything like Willow Point, where you got no sidewalks, no curbs, no gutters? If anybody wants to go walk in the neighborhood, to walk down the middle of the street?
That's correct.
No sidewalks, no curbs?
No sidewalks.
Okay.
Now, your ordinance, your subdivision zoning ordinance allows, if you have larger lots, they do not require curb and gutter. So that's why you're having half-acre lots.
In other words, later date, Horn Lake has to pay for getting curbs and sidewalks in.
I doubt that will ever occur. That's the purpose of, in this area that you're out there, you're almost out in the county. You might say you're in the city, but you're actually in the county out here where you have large lots. Now, if we could have gone the other direction and put curb and gutters in, put 10,000 square foot lots in instead of 25,000 square foot lots in. So there's a trade-off there. We're giving you large lots, and if you're a home buyer, not everybody wants to live on a 10,000 square foot cookie cutter lot with no backyard, but they got curb and gutters and sidewalks. Here you got 20,000, you got a half acre of land. Most of these lots, if you look at it, are very deep. And they're 90 foot wide. They're not 40 foot wide or 50 foot wide. They're 90 foot wide. And some of them are over 200 something feet deep. So, there is a market for people that wants large lots and have a lot of rear yard, for kids or whatever.
How big is the streets gonna be?
Sir?
How wide will the streets be?
24 feet of asphalt.
How much?
24.
Okay. As far as I'm
Now,
concerned,
your most
no.
streets, county streets that
First of all,
up
you
till
want
a
people
few
to walk
years
down the middle of the
ago,
street.
sir, I don't mean to overtalk you.
I said, to start with, as people who wants to go walking has to walk down the street. That's dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, a 24-foot street is not wide enough.
A majority, probably I would say 80% of the streets in DeSoto County are 20 foot.
Well, I doubt you're gonna get past very far along with this, but that's all right. It's
Yeah,
your baby.
well, they increased it to 24 because 20 they thought was not wide enough, but the streets are 24 feet. 5 foot of shoulder on each side, so you got 34 feet of road surface, you want to call it that.
No.
But that's the choice that was made, is to match. Now, we match what was already there in Holly Grove. It's 20,000 square foot lots and very nice big homes, and we matched that, so.
Any other questions from the commissioner?
I do have, if I could,
Yes.
I do have the restrictions and covenants I want to present to the city tonight. This is a signed copy. Restrictions and covenants, and Mr. Reeves, I made a mistake and told him $300 a lot, and he brought a check by, but I think $350, he brought a second check by, so we have paid the park fee, for this subdivision, and those are the restrictions and covenants. We will have, if you look, at the entrance to 301 Highway, those two corner lots will have an entrance. He is going to build a very nice, entrance to the subdivision that would identify it as Baker Estates. And there will be a homeowners association.
Right, Commissioner Little.
How far along and I know the streets have already started going in, work has started, happening already. How far along are we on this project? I'm coming in just in, July, so, has everything been approved yet? Or is this just for literally the subdivision of the subdivision?
Everything's been, we're asking for final approval. And if you recommend it to the Mayor and Board of Aldermen, they approve the final plat, we will be recording and posting a bond for what's missing. Normally, that's just the last layer of asphalt.
Okay.
We'll bond it, then we're gonna pull build permits and be building homes.
Okay, because I'm kind of flying by the seat of my pants. I don't have any
Sure.
of that information.
Okay.
So as far as like house designs and,
That
yeah.
hasn't happened yet.
Oh, it hasn't happened yet?
That's
Okay,
why the
gotcha.
builders are here tonight. That's why I said you ask them,
Okay.
if you have any questions about homes.
Ben, how wide is the entrance to the subdivision? I saw two entrances. How wide are they gonna be? Are they gonna be narrow or wide enough people can get in and out? Because, as you know, there's traffic on 301.
Yeah, that permit was approved by MDOT and met their standards. I think it's a 30-foot throat with curbs. But they're the one that designed that entrance or determined what that entrance would be. Now, we're tying in, by the way, the existing road that we're tying in Holly Grove is 20 feet of asphalt. We're gonna be putting 24 in. So we gotta taper down to 20 feet.
Any other questions?
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you, Mr. Van.
Do you,
I'd like to have the builder come up, if he
John,
would, please.
any one particular, maybe John will tell you who the three builders are.
Okay.
And John Reeves, 4586 Spring Meadow Way, Olive Branch. Of these 83 lots, I got three builders that are gonna be building in there. Lanier Hurdle, what's your? Premium Homes. Premium Homes, Adams Homes, and Chambers Homes. So they'll be splitting up the 83 lots. They brought their plans tonight for everybody to look at, but let me just say this. I've been talking to your mayor for the last 6-8 months, trying to get things worked out, and one thing he wanted us to do was to build a bigger house. Now, these builders, because of the size of the lots and the cost of the development, their houses are gonna be probably minimum of 18, but the ones I've talked to, and they can speak to that, most of them are gonna be 2,000, 2,100, 2,200 square feet. So we're talking about houses on big lots that are gonna be selling for anywhere from, if you did 1,800, you may be talking about 280 or 290, but most of them are gonna be around 300 or 325. Lanier was just telling me he just sold a house in Horn Lake over in one of the subdivisions at 2,200 square feet in Lanier. 2,300 square feet in, sold for $320-something thousand. 327. So this is the type of house we're gonna be building in there. And we got three different builders, so they're gonna be building three different types of houses. So I'll let them speak to you.
Hi, I'm Lanier Hurdle. I live at 1576 White Oak Cove in Hernando. My company's Premium Homes, and we're looking forward to building. We've been building in the Terman Farm subdivision in Horn Lake for several years. I'm proud of what we've done there. We went in there and we built, we had an 1,800 square foot minimum, and I tend to talk too much, so y'all tell me to sit down when you want me to, but I've spent most of my career as a developer doing what Mr. Reeves does, and I've developed a lot of subdivisions, so I'm aware of the issues that you have in approving subdivisions and things. And so one of the things I want to say is everybody focuses on the minimum. What is the minimum square footage? And that's important because that is the minimum. And in this situation, it's 1,800 square feet. But with the price of the lots are really priced too high to make a 1,800 square foot house economic. You can't, the smaller the house, the more cost you've got to spread over. So we don't plan to build anything under 2,000 square feet. Now, I brought a couple of, I brought some pictures, which I'm going to hand you on in a second. I got 2 copies of each one. There's 5 house plans here. These are the houses that the first 5 we intend to build. And they range in size from 2,002 square feet to 2,347. And I put a kind of guesstimate price. I don't know. Materials go up every day, and it's hard for us to price a house. But I put some ranges on there. The low end of my range is what I think it probably would sell for if it was ready today. The high end of my range is what I really expect it to sell for by the time we get them built. And my ranges run, the cheapest house is about $300,000, and the most expensive would be about $350,000. Of course, like a car dealer, it's $299,900 and $349,900 and so forth. But like somebody's going to be tricked and not realize that $299,900 is the same as $300,000. But I'm old and set in my ways. So we intend to build a quality product. That's what we do, and we have built in a lot of subdivisions with curb and gutter and sidewalks. We've built in a lot of subdivisions with open ditches and no sidewalks. There's pros and cons to both. One thing I want to point out, there's only one entrance. There's 2 entrances there now, but one of those entrances is the old driveway that actually went to a house on the property that's gone. So there's only going to be, there's 2 entrances, one off of 301 and then one connecting up to the adjoining subdivision. So there's not going to be a lot of through traffic in here, and I understand your concern. Where I live in Oakdale and Hernando, and so really, I think it's the nicest subdivision in Hernando. It may not be, but it's one of the very nicest, and I married well. My wife had the house there, and we walk in our subdivision regularly, and, you know, in a subdivision that doesn't have through traffic, there's not that much traffic barreling down the road. Our problem is neighbors' dogs coming out and chewing on our legs. And so, you know, but I understand your concern, and the 24 foot is 24 foot of pavement, but then there's also a shoulder on either side of that that's also walkable before you get to the actual road ditch. So they're building a much wider profile than normal. And then to answer a question you asked about where they stand, I mean, the roads are built. The sewers are built. They're just about, I think they're ready to be paved. And it's, you know, my understanding that all the engineers have already approved the designs and it was all done according to plan. So I don't think there's, not for me to say, but I don't think there's a whole lot can be done about the road at this point. It's there and built according to what they were told to build. But anyway, let me give you, can I?
Question real quick, sir.
You just hand it to him.
I got 2 copies of each one. And there's 2 copies of each. It's 5 different plans. There's 2 copies of each. You can pass them around. On the back side, it has my name for the plan and how many square feet and kind of a price range. We may exceed those prices with what's going on today, but I just wanted to be conservative because I didn't want to come in here and tell you, oh, we're going to sell houses for $400,000, and then you come and say, well, Neil, where is that $400,000 house? But I do think we will. I do think we will have houses that expensive in there before it's over. So now, somebody had a question.
In this market, you probably could.
The trouble is, we could sell them fast as we can build them, but we can't get the materials. I got 3 houses in Termit Farms right now with no windows. Ordered the windows on July 1st, and I don't have them yet.
So the ones I ordered in August for my house is probably not gonna get there before Christmas. So.
Do have a quick question on your,
Go ahead.
on your houses. Have you got the garages in front or out past the front of the house?
Some of my garages are in front.
Just the reason I'm asking this, we just had a 2-month discussion on that, and the alderman and everybody else raised Cain because they did not want a garage in front of the house.
Well, all of mine have side load garages. There are no garages facing the street.
Okay.
Now, some of them have the actual body of the garage is forward, but all of them are side loaded.
Okay.
And these are the same, a lot of these houses are the identical, not that anybody else cares where else I build them, but like several of those plans are the exact same plans we're building in the Marguerite Manor subdivision over in Olive Branch at the corner of Church and Pleasant Hill, which is a really nice subdivision. My model home for that subdivision is that Kensington plan that I gave you. So, you know, we're not coming over here with we didn't dig these off the bottom shelf. These are good, solid plans, and they look good. And like I said, no garages on any of these face the street. And if we did have one that faced the street, we would try to build that garage back into what I call the mass of the house. Rather, is what I would try to do. But anyway, any more questions?
You said it was only 2? There's more than 2, right?
No, there's 2 copies of each plan. There's 5 different houses, 2 copies. Yeah, there's 5 houses, 2 copies of each.
Oh, okay.
That color ink's expensive. I couldn't afford to bring.
Okay, I'm just picking my house out in that lot.
See me after the meeting.
Are you gonna plumb utilities up to the attic, unfinished attic on some of these houses?
No, sir.
Okay.
I don't have any unfinished.
Are they all?
Most of them they all have some finished space upstairs. And some of them have bathrooms up.
Right here. Looked like there'd be a game room.
Yeah, it's finished.
It's finished.
Those are finished, yes.
Okay.
And some of them have bathrooms up and some,
Okay.
if it's just one game room upstairs, there's probably not a bath with it. But if there's more space than that, there's a bath.
Okay.
Like that Kensington plan, the 2347, it's got 2 rooms upstairs plus a bath. It's a 3-bath house.
So most of them's gonna be plumbed some way or another, I guess.
If there's room for a bathroom, it's gonna be a bathroom. If it's not, it's not gonna be plumbed, if that makes sense.
Do you happen to know, or anybody in the gallery happen to know how much it costs to put in a 4-foot wide sidewalk per foot, running foot?
Let's see, 4 foot,
Or what is the standard width of a sidewalk?
5 foot is the standard
Okay,
width. So
5 foot.
you need 5 square foot. Gosh, I don't know.
Expensive.
$20? Does that sound about right? About $20. So on one of these lots, we're talking 100-foot wide, we're talking $2,000.
Yeah.
And again, the problem is open ditches. When you go with the open ditch subdivision, which has a lot of advantages, it allows you to have bigger lots that can still be affordable, and it allows you don't have to worry about drains backing up and anything. The ditch is going to carry that water away from there.
Yeah.
But the problem is it doesn't mate well with sidewalks, because when you get to the corners, you got a ditch to cross, and go look, and the sidewalks, that sometimes the ditch is a little wider and the sidewalk, they don't do well.
I live in a subdivision with 144 houses, and there's no sidewalks, and the streets are not 24 feet wide.
Mm-hmm.
And out of 144 people, we got about 6 to maybe 8 families that walk once in a while.
Yeah.
And they walk in the road.
Well,
And so far, nobody's been run over, so.
well, we walk all the time. My wife says I'm supposed to walk with her 5 miles every morning. I try to get to work before she takes me out to walk, so I don't have to.
I see.
But we meet a lot of people in our neighborhood walking.
And if I heard you correct, there's gonna be one entrance in here?
There's 2. There's one off 301, and then there's an entrance into the adjoining subdivision to the east.
Okay.
So
My
there's,
subdivision has one entrance.
Well,
And it's good. The
you don't
bad
get the-
boys don't like to come in there because there's
You don't
one
get
way
the
in
through
and
traffic.
one way out.
Right, and if he comes in too
Okay.
fast, you can be waiting on him before he comes out.
Yeah.
But it does have one going into Willow Point, does it not?
Yes, I don't know the name of the subdivision. Yes, yes, sir, it's a subdivision to the east.
So I think minimum entrance and exit is a good thing.
Well, you need enough to get the fire truck in
Yeah.
and the ambulance.
Yeah.
I'd be happy to answer any more questions.
All right, thank you, sir.
Well, thank y'all, and we look forward to continuing to build here in Horn Lake. We've been happy for several
Thank you.
years here, and we hope to continue.
Hey, I'm Michael Rogers, Adams Homes, 6694 Hawksview, in Olive Branch. I've got some copies. It's pretty much the same thing that Lanier's saying. Price of the lots, the size of the lots, it's gonna be, I think my smallest house is probably gonna be the 2169 plan. Here's copies of our plans. I've got maybe
What's the largest one y'all gonna be putting in there?
It depends. If things are going really well, then we may put a 3,000 in there. Our most popular plan's probably gonna be the 2265 and 2508, which are 2265 square feet, 2508 square feet. We've got front entries and side entries, options for both. I think the paperwork y'all are getting is all front entries. But we'll be doing side entries in here.
I was gonna say, now that I do know on some of these plans where you do have the front load where the garage is protruding front, I know that from our other discussions, those I don't think meet Horn Lake standards.
That's
But I know most of those y'all can turn to.
So we'll just turn
side-
them sideways.
Sideways.
I didn't have the sales flyers for side entries.
I understand. And I didn't ask the last gentleman, but I'll ask you, are y'all planning, I'm, in y'all's business model, so but it's more curiosity, are y'all gonna all have model homes in there separately?
Yes, we'll have a model home, I'm assuming.
We don't know.
Okay.
If somebody comes along and wants to buy it after I get built, I'll probably go sell it, and the next house will be a problem. I'll sell them all before I can get them.
I understand. I mean, it's with the market, that is kind of an old model, but, I just know that some builders like having those. But usually I see it with one builder having the whole subdivision, they put a model home and they sell out. And with 3 different builders, I knew that could be confusion to the consumer, but, like I said, however y'all do y'all's business, I was just curious if y'all plan on putting
Yeah,
model
we've
homes
had that, not here, but in other markets. I've had a couple of builders with model homes. We were across the street from one another, which was kind of nice for the buyers, honestly. They can shop pretty
one
easily.
time. Yep, I got you. All right, do we have any questions?
Nothing.
You got it off easy today.
Yeah. Lanier did all the talking for me. Thank y'all.
Thank you.
We'll get you next time.
You can thank Monday Night Football coming on in about.
Good evening, I'm Donnie Chambliss with Chambliss Homes, 6290 Autumn Oaks Drive, Olive Branch, Mississippi. Does anyone have any questions, please?
Did you bring any designs or anything?
No, sir, I didn't. We've been building in Horn Lake about 30 years. We have built more houses other than Mr. John and Mr. Bob Reason-Williams in Horn Lake for the past 30 years, and we sold every home we built. So with due respect, I didn't know I needed to bring any plans with us.
Well, I don't think it was a requirement, but I just
Yes.
know that at some point, we'll have to see what you're wanting to put into that
Yes.
development, so. Do we have any questions for Mr. Chambliss?
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, sir.
We don't have any builders in Horn Lake.
All right, do we have any other comments, discussion from the commissioners? All right, do we have a motion?
I move to recommend to the mayor and board of aldermen approval of the board, the above subdivision application, subject to staff recommendation and the following conditions.
I second.
All right, so we have a motion by Commissioner Stokes, a second by Commissioner Yeager. Now, can we have roll call?
Commissioner Stokes,
Yay? Yes.
Commissioner Little,
Yes.
Commissioner Stapleton. Yes. Commissioner McGann, yes. Commissioner Dixon,
No.
Commissioner Yeager.
Yes.
We have 5 for, 1 against, and 1 absent. Motion carries.
All right, thank y'all. Probably the third Tuesday of December, I would.
That's correct. Third Tuesday of December before the mayor and board.
Thank you, gentlemen.
It looked like it from distance. I just don't like the, the layout is good.
All right, so we'll move on to the, we don't have any site plan or design or variance issues, so next up is conditional use. Our first conditional use case is 2052 CU, application for conditional use for an indoor car showroom. Mr. Bob, so you got the floor.
Yes, sir. This is, just as you read it, a conditional use application for an indoor car showroom. The date on the staff report should read November 20th rather than September 27th. The applicant, Ms. Julia Wooten, is proposing an indoor car showroom. What I have placed in your staff report are the criteria that you usually judge these on. The first 5 items there: will this increase traffic hazards? Will this increase fire hazards? Adversely affect the character of the area? Adversely affect the general welfare of the city? Will it overtax public utilities, or is it in conflict with the overall comprehensive plan? Those are the criteria by which the ordinance says you'll judge a conditional use. Under the staff comments, I just made a few notes there. Currently, this site is a diesel mechanic shop, and the property, the proposed use is a conditional use, and in the C4 zone. The zoning code states the following items there: dealership, minimum size of 3 acres, and minimum 150 feet of road frontage, on down the line there. However, the criteria in the zoning code anticipates an outdoor dealership. It doesn't anticipate an indoor dealership at all. So I'm not sure how applicable those items are. The applicant can explain in more detail what is actually being proposed. So, John, if you scroll down, you will see in the site is numbered 1909 Tappan Drive. Is already a diesel mechanic shop, and again, the proposal is for an indoor automobile showroom, asking for a conditional use. As you consider it, if you do grant it, you'll want to consider a time element involved, how long the approval would be good for. So with that, Mr. Chairman, I would defer the description of what's being proposed to the applicant.
Do we have the applicant here? Miss Julia Wooten? Okay, Okay, the applicant is not here.
I would suggest that be carried over until the next meeting.
Okay, do we have a motion?
I motion to
I
carry.
second Bob.
What's that mean?
Go ahead.
Bob, I was just saying, I second you. I was gonna ask her quite a few questions, and she's not even here. I suggest we carry it over.
Okay.
Yeah, because I got several questions for this, when looking at the property and the staff comments, so, yeah, we want to see her.
Okay, so do we have a motion?
I motion to, is it, we can table it?
Yeah, table it.
We're gonna, I motion to table case number 2052 over to our next meeting.
All right, do we have a second? Second. All right, the motion was made by Commissioner Stokes, and it was seconded by Commissioner Stapleton. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Yeager? Yes to table or
yes.
no to go ahead with it?
Yes to table.
Commissioner Dixon?
Yes.
Commissioner McGann, yes. Commissioner Stapleton?
Yes.
Commissioner Little?
Yes.
Commissioner Stokes?
Yes.
And Janice is absent. Okay, motion carries to table till the next meeting.
All right, and our next item is the conditional use application for 2054 CU, conditional use for a restaurant drive-through at 4065 Goodman Road. Mr. Bob, once again, you have the floor.
Yes, sir. We'll go back to just west of Aldi. You just heard the lot and recommended approval for the final subdivision approval on the Wendy's lot at 4065 Goodman Road, just west of Aldi. So this is a follow-up to that. Restaurant drive-throughs are conditional uses in the city of Horn Lake, and so obviously a Wendy's has a drive-through associated with it, and so this application seeks approval for their drive-through. The same criteria apply. I will say that the commission has considered a couple of other restaurants in that along that Goodman Road frontage there. One was Zaxby's, which had a drive-through, which was approved. And another one was McDonald's, and I can't recall if McDonald's has come back with its drive-through application or not. But there are other restaurants in the area with drive-throughs. This is fast food, obviously. And we'll leave it to the applicant to explain further what's being proposed.
Okay, Mr. Bob, I do have a question. I mean, typically on conditional uses, there's usually a time limit. And if we was to approve this, how do you do a time limit on a drive-through when you know that that structure is going to be there for at least for a long-term use?
Mr. Chairman, that is a great question, and I don't think the ordinance really anticipates a very good answer to that. I would suggest if you're going to approve it, that it be a very long-term approval, or don't place a time limit at all, but typically it's a practice to put a time limit on it, so they would need a long one.
Okay, now can we put, if we do choose to approve this and someone makes the motion, can the time limit be for as long as that the company is Wendy's restaurant, and then it would?
Yes, I think that's a very solid solution to that. As long as it's Wendy's, the approval's good.
Okay, that's what I wanted to know. All right, so do we have any other questions for Mr. Bob? All right, would like to have the applicant come up.
This one shouldn't take long. It is.
Well, I was just saying, he was the first one up, and that last one, he had to stay for the whole meeting, I tell you.
Great pairing.
Apologies for that.
Dylan Dempsey.
By the way, there is a site plan on the screen that will, the site plan is not up for approval because, as I mentioned earlier, we didn't have all the information. But when we do get all the information, you'll see this site plan, and it shows you the position of the drive-through and so forth.
Okay. Do you have any questions for the applicant?
Not gonna have any seating, indoor, dining on the inside.
Yes, there will be dining on the
You
inside.
are gonna have,
Yes, there'll be 40 seats, or sorry, 55.
so you'll have indoor dining and drive-through.
Correct.
Okay.
And I haven't seen the windows with just one of them.
Yeah, and most of them shut down right now.
Oh, okay.
Any questions? All right, do we have a motion?
I make a motion we approve that, for approval, I move to recommend approval of the mayor and board of aldermen, the conditional use described in the above request at the stated address, subject to staff comments and the following conditions. The following condition is the drive-through access will, be limited to the life of the building. That close?
To the company.
To the company,
Uh,
as long as
Wendy's on it.
if someone else moves in, they'll have to redo it.
All right, so we have a motion by Commissioner Stapleton, and do we have a second?
I second.
We have a second by Commissioner Little. The motion is to accept and move to Board of Aldermen with the condition that that the conditional use be in force until, as long as Wendy's is the person occupying that building. Roll call.
Commissioner Yeager,
Yes.
Commissioner Dixon,
Yes,
Commissioner McGann, yes. Commissioner Stapleton,
Yes.
Commissioner Little,
Yes.
and Commissioner Stokes.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Susan.
Thank you.
Now, next time, bring the playground back, please. We want the playgrounds back.
All right, so I do have one thing on the agenda that I would like to bring up to Mr. Bob or Mr. Chad to see exactly how we need to do this. But with our next meeting would be actually normally scheduled for December 27th, and that's right after a holiday. I know there's been some talk about maybe trying to move that, but I'm not sure what what we can legally do to move that meeting to maybe the 20th. I was just going to.
Mr. Chairman, I think, based on your motion, and as long as it's publicized that you're moving it to the 20th, and we'll see to it that it gets publicized if that's going to be the motion. What day of the week is the 20th?
A Monday. It's just moving it up 1 week.
Yeah, okay. That's totally doable. We'll just have to notify the public that the meeting date has changed.
Okay. Well, I'd like to make a motion that we move our meeting date to the December 20th because of the holiday.
second.
All right, so we got a second from Commissioner Dixon. Any discussion? All right, roll call, please.
Commissioner Yeager,
Yes.
Commissioner Dixon,
Yes,
Commissioner McGann, yes. Commissioner Stapleton,
Yes.
Commissioner Little,
Yes.
Commissioner Stokes.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay. All right, so that has been approved, so we'll move it to December 20th. All right, Commissioner, do we have any comments from anybody? I know you said you want.
Mr. Chairman, if I may comment, I just want to express appreciation to the commission. It's been a pleasure working with you over the last 9 or 10 months, however long it's been. Wish Mr. Barr much success as the new planning director, and look forward to interacting with you again in the future, perhaps, if we have occasion to do that. I just want to express my appreciation for each of you and for the work of the Planning Commission.
And we appreciate all the work you've done for us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Bob.
Yes, thank you, Bob.
yeah, we appreciate your help.
Thank you, Mr. Baker. Hopefully, we don't see you soon, for the sake of Mr.
Yes.
Chad here.
Yes.
Bob,
You have a great Christmas.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Stapleton.
Okay, I don't want anyone to misconstrue what I'm about to say. I'm not trying to tell you how to vote or anything, but the sidewalks that we have talked about a few times, I wish whenever we get into this discussion, people will remember that it costs X amount of dollars per foot, which is added to the house and the lot, and it's gonna be more than any $10 a foot.
Oh, yeah.
So there again, you got a 100-foot wide lot, it's how many dollars? Secondly, once you put those sidewalks in, the city's responsible for them.
That's right.
Same thing with these parks and some of this land people want to give us, because the land is pigeonholed and the developer don't want it, so he gives it to the city. Now we're responsible for it. That means a lot of money to cut grass, water drainage, maintenance, et cetera. So hopefully we can
what you
remember
might
all
think
this
about,
when we get
at a
into
later
another
date,
discussion.
Horn Lake may have to pay that.
Wait a minute.
City
What?
money. I said at a later date, though, Horn Lake will have to put the money out. So why not let the contractor do it at the start?
It don't work that way. Once the developer, the contractor puts the sidewalks in or the lot in,
That's right.
the responsibility goes to somebody else.
That's right.
So,
But if it's never put in, then it's,
huh?
I said, but, and if the sidewalk, and if I'm understanding, if a sidewalk's not put in, it's not part of the plan, then the only time
homeowner.
that, the only time that the sidewalks ever be put in would be if the homeowners decided to do it.
Yeah.
It wouldn't, the
Yeah.
city would never have to go back and put sidewalks in.
Just like the subdivision I live in, there's no sidewalks. Very few people walk the street.
Very few.
And a few years ago, somebody come up with the bright idea to put sidewalks in. Well, at that time, it was more than $20 a foot.
Yep.
My lot is 215 feet wide. I do not want a sidewalk out there, because nobody's gonna use it. They're gonna walk in the street.
Well, they walk the street. All these young people
So,
walking down
anyway,
the street.
just food for thought. Next time we get into this situation, that's all I have to say.
But I do know for a fact the alderman is not gonna approve anything without sidewalks and curbs and gutters. Not all the aldermen, now one or two of them might, or some of them might.
If someone wants to buy a house and they want sidewalks and they're not available, they'll go to another subdivision.
Bye.
Yeah. Okay.
So do we have a motion to
I
adjourn?
make a motion to adjourn. I make a motion to adjourn.
Everybody in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, we're adjourned.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas.